Hey, I'm Todd. Thanks for choosing to watch my video, and if you would subscribe it, like it, all that stuff, that'd be great. Otherwise, enjoy the video, and I hope it gives you the information you need and is helpful to you. Take care.
All right, rear brake pad replacement on a 2014 Subaru Outback Limited. Everything is left to loosen, right to tighten. Take the lug nuts off, break them loose a turn or two, and then jack up the vehicle. Use safety stands, protect yourself. A nice pinch weld here, solid metal here. Several good places to jack up. So probably on the pinch weld is best, like my hoist is set up here. Jack it up, take the lug nuts off the rest of the way, and take the tire off, and this is what you'll see. Brake rotor, brake caliper mount, and then the brake caliper. Probably just going to take off one 14mm bolt here, and then two 14mm bolts for the caliper mount, and then we can get the rotor off. There's two holes here. Bolt size is 8 by 1.25. That's the thread pitch, and you can screw them in and force the rotor off if it doesn't just slide off, or tap it with a hammer on the side once the caliper's off, and it'll probably come off. So that is the overview here. It's got a ratchet and a 14mm. I'll take this lower one off. It goes into this slide here, and check your slides in the caliper, make sure it collapses. Couldn't get my screwdriver in that center hole and grab on anything, so we'll just take that bolt out. We can rock it up. Slide's good. Sorry about my allergies. And that slide is good. Should really take not too much pressure to collapse pistons, in my opinion. That went well. Take off those back two bolts. Break them loose. Ugh. I got a little gun with a swivel, make things easier. And clean these up or replace them. These kind of friction fit pieces fit in. Got new ones with my new brake pads. Just like that. Brake rotor. If you're in the salt states and stuff like that where rust is a real issue, these might be a good option. Coated rotors. Several companies make them, but something to consider. Just take it out of the bag and slap it on the vehicle. If you're using regular rotors or machining your rotors, maybe wash them with some clean soap and water and then rinse them off and towel them off, and should be good to go. New rotors will come with a little bit of oil on them if they're not coated like this one is. So uncoated, wash off the oily residue, anti-rust residue, and you can put your rotor on your car. emergency brake shoes, right on a little inside baby drum in here. Match your rotors up, make sure they are the same. Put your new rotor on, or a machined rotor, put it back on. A little rubber plug, we can transfer that from the old rotor to the new one. Just push it out, just an inspection hole for the emergency brake shoes. Tighten those down. Slides are pretty free, but just put a little bit more caliper lube on them. Not much, looks pretty good. We'll put a little caliper lube also on the brake pads, the metal edges where it rides in here, not on the pad itself.
Nice haircut, Todd.
Thanks. I'll work hard on it. Put just a little bit around here too, and on the insides of here. We'll slide it back on.
What are you shaking your head for?
All right. And that is replacing your rear brake pads and rotor on your 2014 Subaru Outback. I'll show you the master cylinder and what to do there in a second. All right, here's your master cylinder. Pretty typical master cylinder. Has a maximum line and a minimum line. You find that on most every master cylinder. Cap that screws on and screws off. Usually 3 little notches holding it on. So we'll just top it off as needed. You kind of get a bit of gunk and debris in here. Can't really get that out, but it's clear lower. So we're going to add or subtract fluid as needed to get it close to the maximum line. Maybe use a turkey base or a clean rag and absorb some. You don't really want fluid coming out, which will happen if it's full. And you collapse the pistons, fluid will come out. So maybe keep an eye on that. Or suck a little bit out. That's what I do most often, is take a little bit out and then I collapse it. It'll raise up. So add or subtract 0.3 brake fluid as needed here. Step on the brake pedal a few times to set the pads and the piston in place, and then you'll have a nice line, you can check and top off your fluid as needed, or subtract some, and then put the cap on and good to go. I'll give you some torque specs too. Put the wheel on, put your lug nuts on, and tighten them in a crisscross pattern. I'm going to bet like 80 foot-pounds, but again, I'll give you some specs here in a second. 48 for the bracket, 20 for the brake caliper, and like 88.8 foot-pounds for the lug nuts. I believe those are the torque specs you require. Good luck to you. You can do it.